What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review the first episode and the first season of The Secret Lives of Mormons. And girl, they should just have called this show Who Wants to Be Regina George? Because that's what it is, pretty much. But let's get into it. About it. So I'm gonna be honest, after watching this first episode, it's clear as day that these women are not friends, they're co-workers, and they like to act like they're a sisterhood, but honestly they're very catty and they enjoy making money together, but not, being like that with each other, which I'm cool with if you gonna give me an entertaining show. And I'm gonna be honest, this first episode, if I had to rank it, it was a solid 7. I said, oh, y'all messy. I might enjoy this. I didn't expect Hulu to release the whole entire season. I thought they were gonna possibly, you know how they do release an episode like every Tuesday or stop, but they released all 8 episodes. So I'm only on episode 1, and honestly, what it tells me is like there's gonna be fighting for who can control the group between Whitney and Taylor, and they're both trying to be Regina George right about now. I don't know if a new Supreme gonna rise up in the ranks and take them both out, but like I said, I'm only on episode 1, so who really knows? But let's talk about it. So we meet Taylor. She's 28 years old, and she's the one that kicked off this whole swinger scandal of it all. She lets us know she got married really young. Her mom knew that they was fornicating. That's what we say over here in the Baptist church in the South. And, you're not supposed to do that before you get married. So she says her mom pretty much kind of pressured her into getting married to her high school sweetheart. They got married, and then she started mom talk with 4 of her friends, which I think it was Whitney, Michaela, Macy, and herself. And pretty much things were going great. Things were going awesome. But then her and her husband decided, ooh, we should start swinging, Like they needed to zest it up, needed to spice it up. And then Taylor says she saw some people talking about their situation on Reddit. Now, mind you, girl, Reddit is a cesspool. I don't know why anybody would want to go over there. But basically, Taylor says that the reason why everything like kind of became what it was and it was all this pandemonium is there was a mom talk girl who went over there on Reddit and was like spilling all of their tea. And so Taylor says, you know what, you're not going to spill my tea. I'm going to spill my own tea. I'm trying to get ahead of the story. So she did a live. I remember that live. Now, mind you, mom talk has never appealed to me. For the most part, I'm not married. I don't have a baby. I'm not a mom. I'm Black, and I'm not Mormon. So none of that ever appealed to me. I would see videos and keep scrolling, but when Taylor did her live exposing the soft swinging, but I agree with Jess, y'all were swinging. Yeah, if y'all did everything but put a penis into a vagina, girl, y'all was still having sex. y'all were swinging. You just didn't go all the way, but you went there pretty much. And I remember that live, and I remember you couldn't get away from the whole scandal on TikTok. Like everybody on all parts of TikTok was talking about this swinging and the mom talk. Like it was everywhere. So when I saw that, I said, girl, that was you. That was you. I said, miss. So we see her meet up with her friend, Macy. Macy is 27 and one of the original girls that, helped her do mom talk. And Macy has been married for, I think she said 5 or 4 years, and she has 2 kids, and she's married to some guy named Jacob. So we see Macy and Taylor go to like this coffee shop. So they chilling at the coffee shop, and Macy is like, girl, what's up? What's been up with you? Because we find out ever since Taylor did her live, she been trying to lay low in Utah because the girls are pissed with her, okay? And so, Taylor's like, nothing, I'm good. And Macy is like, but what about Dakota? I said, who is Dakota? So we find out Taylor is dating this guy named Dakota. He slipped into her DMs and she messaged him back, and now they boyfriend and girlfriend. And, Macy is like, I want to know what you see in him, because I'm not seeing what you seeing, but you're saying he's such this wonderful guy. She was like and so then Taylor starts to tell her business, because Macy's tells that, like, she wants to have more, sex with her husband, but she feels like she's always the one that's initiating it, but she wants him to initiate it. So Taylor gives her advice and like, girl, tell your man. That's it. Simple. So then Taylor starts telling her business where she says that Dakota messaged her, she messaged him back. In the beginning of their relationship, they got into a fight because she likes to drink. Like, Taylor likes to turn up and have a good time. And Dakota's like, we got to chill on that. Like, we got to lessen that, maybe not do it at all. But Taylor's like, well, I like to do it. Then she starts talking about like, I'm wondering if I should still be with someone because I just got recently divorced. That's when we find out she's only been divorced for maybe like a month or two. And she's like, I'm already in a relationship. I'm like, do I want to get out of that and just live my life? Because, I'm still in my 20s. I need to get all of this out of my system? And then you got Macy being like, girl, you like drama. I said, that's shade number one, because she was like, you like to be in chaos and mess, don't you? And Taylor was like, no, but I do but then Macy tried to clean it up and be like, that's not what I mean, but I mean, like, you want your man to want you. I said, no, Macy, you meant what you said. That girl's life is chaotic and she likes it because she always in toxic situations. So Macy ends up telling Taylor, oh, Whitney coming back. And Taylor's like, what do you mean Whitney's coming back? And Taylor's like, I didn't even know Whitney left. So we find out that Whitney moved to Hawaii and she's been there for like 2 months. The way that they were talking about it, I thought she had been there for like 2 years. But I'm starting to feel like when they filmed this was earlier on when the whole scandal broke. And because when you look at the trailers, you can clearly see that like Taylor is pregnant. And in this trailer, in this episode, we find out that she had a miscarriage. So I'm just like, oh, y'all must have took a break, after, she got arrested and everything. But Taylor kind of feels some type of way because her and Whitney were like pretty close. But she was just like, she just stopped like messing with me after the whole like swinger scandal. And she was like, I definitely need to have like a conversation with her. So we move from that scene and we show up at somebody's house. I think we were at Jesse's house. I'm pretty sure it was Jesse's house. And it's the girls and they, filming like TikToks and laughing and kikiing. We then see Taylor pull up to her mama's house. And girl, her mama is tired of Taylor. Taylor's mama is tired of her. I said, Taylor's mom is tired of her. She tired of a child. She real tired of a kid. So pretty much we have her going to her mom's house. She brings her kids over. They're running around. The mom is cutting apples on her granite counter without a cutting board. And I said, girl, you just want to mess up your counter. And Taylor ends up telling her mom, like, hey, like, can you kind of like watch the kids because I'm going on a date with Dakota. And the mom is like, for what? And Taylor's like, oh, I didn't tell you we're like, I'm his girlfriend now. So we can tell that the mama don't like Dakota. We find out that when Taylor posted a video of Dakota and her dancing together, she was like, should I date him? Should I not date him? And the mom hopped into the comments on TikTok and was like, girl, this is a red flag. Your divorce just settled like 3 hours ago. Let yourself heal. Let your kids heal. And then if he still wants to be in your life, then it's meant to be. But if not, girl, move on. And she got a bunch of likes for it. And then Taylor ended up deleting it because she was tired of everybody liking her mama comments. And then the mom called and was like, did you delete my comment? So you could definitely tell that there is issues with Taylor and her mom. Like, they don't have the best relationship. But when I look at Taylor gives very much like she likes to live in her delusions, as well as you have to give her like a compliment sandwich. You got to give her warmness at the top, then hit her with the harsh truth in the middle, and then follow it up with more warmness, and serve it to her. But her mom is like that, and her mom is very much straight no chaser. Like, she is like, she be telling Taylor about herself, and it probably did a number on like her self-esteem or how she views herself or how she views her relationship with her mom, because her mom gives very much like, you are a Mormon, this is how Mormons are supposed to behave, you're supposed to be a good Mormon girl, get married, have kids, and live your life, not be on the internet dancing and swinging. Okay, that's not what you're supposed to do. Okay, you're embarrassing us. That's how her mom is acting. So we see them go outside to have a conversation, and I don't know if I'm like, I don't know if this was how it's supposed to go down, but it looked like the mama pretty much says Taylor don't be having her kids, the mama be having the kids. Like Jocelyn said, if your grandma had the baby, but it's your baby, then the grandmama is the baby. No, the grandma is the mama. I think that's how she said it. I think that's how Jocelyn said it. But because like when her mom and her were having the conversation, I think Taylor was like, well, how do you like watching the kids, or how you like the kids being around? And the mom was like, it's a lot. And then Taylor was like, well, it's normal, I get 50-50 custody. And the mom kind of gave her this look of like, no, we have these kids while you go do whatever you want to do, pretty much. And I think the mom solidified that's what she was saying to me when she was like, when everything falls apart, me and your dad are here to pick up the pieces. And I said, ooh, girl, you be doing things. So they're sitting there, and she's just kind of like, the mom pretty much tells like Dakota's business. Dakota is a recovering addict. He a drug addict. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if he's recovering, because when they had that dinner, it was given he's still on that stuff. But Taylor's like, Dakota has like a like past, like he has a past. Like I have a messy past. I said swinging versus being a drug addict they're not equivalent, at least not in my book. But Taylor's like, he has a past, and like, that's why we're working on these things together, and we shouldn't judge them. And then she drops the bomb on her mom that she might be pregnant, because she was like, she has to take a pregnancy test. I know for a fact her mom wanted to cuss. And they're not supposed to cuss, because she was like, because she had to catch herself, because I know she wanted to say the F word, but she said, are you freaking kidding me? And then she was like, are you freaking kidding me? Her mom was like, you just got a divorce. Like, you need to heal. Your kids need to heal. And now you're pregnant? Taylor. And she's like, Taylor, you're so, like, I don't think I think she didn't want to call her child stupid, because she was like, you're just so, and then she said, she's like, you're just so stupid. Like, Taylor, I'm sick of this. I'm sick. And you could tell Taylor was just like, and then she was like, and then you don't care. You don't care, because then because you got your faces like you just don't care. And I was like, I think she does care, but she doesn't know what to say, because she's ashamed and embarrassed by her actions. But her mom was just like, I can't do this. I can't even look at you right now. And she actually like gets up and goes into the house. And Taylor's just sitting there, and I'm just like, ooh, girl, your parents are tired of you. Your parents are tired of you and your shenanigans. You need to get it right, girl. Get it. And I mean, even though I could tell that her mom, it probably was not the best to be around or to deal with growing up, she's not wrong with what she's saying to her daughter. Taylor is 28 years old. She got 2 kids. You are recently divorced. You shouldn't even be in a relationship with somebody else. Your mom is right. You should be healing. Like, a lot of people have said that like getting a divorce is like getting over like someone dying. Like, you have to grieve the relationship. And like, girl, you should be by yourself for a while and then regroup and move on with yourself. But now you're pregnant by someone who's a drug addict. I'd be tired of you too, especially if your mom is saying that her like your dad and her are always here to pick up the pieces when you fall apart. Girl, choices. Choice. Move on from Taylor, and we go back to the girls where they were to the house where they were dancing and doing their little TikToks. They have stopped doing TikToks, and now they're all like sitting in the den, and everyone's talking about Taylor and Whitney. So it seems like the group is still kind of confused about this whole soft swinging thing, because we end up meeting one of the girls named Jessie. Jessie is 30 years old. She has her own business called Jay-Z Styles, and she has her own hair extensions, and her business also offers classes. And so Jessie is like, what is this soft swinging? And Demi and I think Jen chime in, and they're like, girl, basically everything but actually having like sex. And Jessie is like, that don't make sense to me. Y'all were still doing things, so you were swinging. So who's there at the house is, we have Macy, who we saw in the beginning of the episode that was talking to Taylor. You have this one girl who I think is either mixed or she is black, but it's giving mixed, Layla. We don't know how old she is, but I think in the the trailer, it said that she said she was like 22 years old with 2 kids. But she's there, and Demi is 29 years old. Fun fact, she's married to Angie H's ex-husband. If you watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, I think Angie H came on during season 3 or 4. Not sure. But her husband also tried to be on Bachelorette, but because of the pandemic, it didn't happen for him, like, because they had a bunch of delays. But Demi and her husband have like a 20-year age gap. She's 29, he's 46, but they've been married for 3 years. No. And we meet this other girl named Jen. Jen is 24. We meet Michaela, who's 23. And I think that's everybody. Yeah, I think that's everybody. So Demi ends up telling us how she don't really see it for Taylor. And that's mainly because when they went to one of them parties, which Demi was like, me and Brett didn't know what it was. Me and my husband did not know that's what that party was. Like, that's the type of time they was on. And she was like, when all of that stuff was happening, we were not a part of it. But she was like, now looking back on it, I'm starting to realize things were happening, because she was like, there was a situation where the men were asking Brett about like if he was a jealous man. And Brett was looking at them like, you talking like, I don't, if you're talking about do I share? No, I don't share. And she has issues with Taylor because she said on one of the nights when they went to the party, Taylor walked up to her, kissed her on the forehead, and then kissed Brent on the forehead, and she would have got smacked. I'd have been like, that's disrespectful. Because one, even if I wasn't like there in no way is that okay. And I'm not even that type of person that like polices how people greet people. But if like, why are you kissing my man on the head? Why are you kissing me on the head? The only people that do that are my parents and my grandparents. Like, I've never had like a friend or like a man that I was talking to or dating ever do that to me. I'd be kind of weirded out. You know, the whole forehead kisses thing is not like, it's corny and cheesy to me. But why are you kissing me on the forehead? But I guess, I don't know if that was an initiation to see if you was cool with it. And so Taylor was, not Taylor, but Demi was like looking at her like, girl, what? And then she said, I think she said that Taylor was like kind of all over Britt, like while he was drunk. And I said, oh, girl. And so Brent was kind of like, I'm too drunk. Like and Demi was like, he almost was like blacked out drunk, but we was not staying at that house. And I don't blame her. So I guess she threw that man in the car, got in the car and said, we leave it. We going home. So the girls end up moving from the den area to go sit, go eat and drink in the kitchen. And while they're in the kitchen, everybody like kind of brings up Whitney coming back. I think Jen is the one that brings up like, Whitney's coming back. And Jess is like, for real? And I think somebody was like, yeah, I think she actually is coming back like today. Like they are moving into their house today. And everyone's just like, whoa. She kind of like flew the coop and now she's coming back. That's kind of crazy. We end up seeing Michaela. Michaela is 23 years old. Now, I'm glad I did not say nothing shady when I saw her, because I was like, she looked kind of tired. She looked a little sickly. But then as the episode went on, we found out more about her condition. And I said, see, that's why you wait before you become an asshole. Because I was like, girl. So as they're talking about Whitney, Macy brings up about this whole like Twitter thread or Reddit post about why Whitney left to go to Hawaii. And supposedly they ended up finding out that Whitney's husband, Connor, was like on Tinder, like messaging and talking to women. And Macy was like, well, I asked Whitney about it, but like she blatantly like denied it. And I was like, it didn't sit well with me, but I didn't want to pry any further. So all of the girls are like, girl, Whitney, it's something over there with Whitney and her man. But they are genuinely surprised that she's moving back and it hasn't really told anybody that she's moving back from Hawaii. Whitney is performative AF, bro. Performative AF. She's in the car like, oh my God, our new home. Just being extra. So she's in the car with her husband and their two kids, and their car is packed to the brim. We find out she's 30 and her husband Connor is 30. They get to their new house. It seems like they didn't actually physically walk in the home and pick it. Maybe the realtor probably like showed them videos and pictures of everything. And so when she comes into the house, she's like, Connor, oh my God, Connor, it's beautiful. Oh my God. I said, Whitney, stop acting like you ain't never been in the house before. And so the realtor actually leaves them like some champagne. We get a little backstory before they drink the champagne, but they got married when they were pretty young. They had their first child, and Whitney was like, I don't want this to be my life. So I'm not just a mom. I want other things. So that's when she joined Mom Talk with Taylor, Macy, and Michaela. So they end up drinking the champagne. They do that cute little where they cross their arms and drink it. Both Connor and her get real performative where he's like, is this what people buy? And she's like, ugh, ugh. And then she runs to the kitchen sink to like wash her mouth out. And I'm like, champagne is not that like it's not that like it's nothing. Like I could understand these reactions if it was like bourbon, gin, tequila, vodka, what else we got, bourbon, whiskey, like I like, but them acting or rum, but them like freaking out over some champagne that to me is like a step above like carbonated water. I'm like, girl, champagne is not like it doesn't, it just don't take all of that. And I said, y'all gonna work my nerves. So we actually meet Michaela. Michaela is 23 years old. She had her first child at 16. She got married at 17 and her husband was 21. I said, I don't like these numbers. I don't. And I was like, is he the father of your first child? Because that means he was 20 when you had that baby. Because you got married at 17. And I was just like, and even if he's not marrying you at 17 and he's 21, but that's how they get down over in that state. I said, you shouldn't have never shared those numbers with us. Should have never shared those. Because now I'm looking at you and your husband like, blink if you need help. So we find out that Michaela unfortunately has like a chronic illness. She doesn't know why her skin is reacting the way it has been reacting. She's done a bunch of tests. They taken blood work and everything, but they still haven't come up with anything. And she's been struggling with finding herself like attractive and beautiful. So I think that possibly will be her storyline of finding her confidence again. We actually see Michaela and Whitney sitting down at this brunch place and they're waiting on Taylor. Because remember, they're a part of the four OGs, which is Macy, Taylor, what's her name, Whitney, and Michaela. So they're waiting, and Whitney is talking to Michaela, and you can tell that Michaela is nervous because her hands are shaking, and Whitney was like, just take a deep breath. Like, because Michaela's like, I don't even know what to say to her, but I got some things to say, but I don't know if I should say them. And Whitney's like, I got things to say too. They were like, she's probably going to come in here all bubbly and talking about her new titties, and like you want to touch them and all of that stuff. And funny or not, Taylor gets there and immediately is touching on her titties, and they both look at each other and laugh, and it gets real awkward because Michaela feels like, not Michaela, but Taylor knows she's like the butt of the joke. And she's like, what? And they're like, nothing. And then they start touching her breast, and she's like, wow, they're really soft. And Taylor's like, yeah, they didn't hurt at all when I got them done. So like, she's like, I love them. They fit my body. And so they start talking about the whole live that Taylor did, exposing like the mom talks who were doing the swinging thing. And Whitney was like, I didn't feel safe around you. That's why I ain't talked to you. Because Taylor's like, you stopped talking to me. And she was like, I didn't feel safe around you. Like, there was a better way that you could get this message across without like you weren't specific about names. You just said all of mom talk and said everybody was at fault. Everyone's done everything. And we're getting harassed and people are calling us. And then Taylor kind of feels some type of way because she's like, everyone's talking about how much this like ruined their lives, and calling me, telling me to take the live down and everything. But then people are also doing TikToks about it, making fun of it and getting paid for it. So did it really ruin your life or did I help you? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's like a catch. Like, it's two things can be true. Like, yeah, you ruin their lives, especially if they're getting harassed and people are looking at them funny, but they should still be able to make money, in my opinion, off of like the back, like, pay me for my pain type stuff. Like, you got paid. You did a live with 50 to 60K people on it and you posted it. So we know you got paid. So why can't they get paid off of you exposing them? And Taylor kind of feels like they're trying to push her out of mom talk, but she's like, I'm the ones that brought you on here. And Michaela is like, girl, you ain't do nothing for me like that. Like, my following count was already up. All right, you helped, but you ain't make me. I said, oh, okay, Michaela, put your chest on the table. And I agree with Michaela. Like, I understand where Taylor is coming from, where she's like, well, y'all wouldn't have like the platforms the way you would have them without me if I didn't get us to be together. But just because you got them together doesn't mean that you made them. Like, you sought them out because they had considerable followings and you guys grew together. you know, like a lot of them keep saying we make more money when we're all together, when we're doing videos together, so it was beneficial for all of you. So I don't think Taylor can take too much credit into being like, well, I like, you started it and you may have created it, but like, you didn't create them, you know what I'm saying? You might have aided in them getting their following and stuff like that. So Whitney was just like, you don't get how like what you did really like caused a lot of pain for all of us. And she was like, that's kind of why I went to Hawaii, because it was just a lot, like everyone was coming at us. And so Taylor kind of ends up apologizing, being like, I didn't mean to cause all of this, but I said my truth. So I don't take back posting or doing the live, but I do hate that it caused all of this pain for y'all. So then they end up saying like, well, now that we got this out, let's all of us try to move forward as a group, because we all really need mom talk at this point. We then see Whitney. She now has like red hair, and she sits down with Connor, and pretty much she's like getting emotional, and then Connor starts to cry. And I say, he's like, I can't, because then when I think about what I did to you, I get emotional, and I know I'm not a victim, but I feel like I'm making myself a victim. And I said, you are. Your tears mean nothing. So we find out basically that whole TikTok, the whole Tinder thing about finding him on Tinder was actually true. And Whitney was just kind of like, she doesn't know what's going to happen once things are revealed. And she doesn't know how it's going to affect her family. But she's kind of tired of having this burden around and like looking over her shoulder. Because Whitney is tired of looking over her shoulder, she calls a few of the girls to have a kumbaya sesh, a ponderosa or things. So I think it was Michaela, Demi, Taylor, and Whitney. Honestly, they all look alike. I need y'all to get different hairstyles and different colors. But Macy said, in Utah right now, blonde is the trend. We'll switch it up. Because I can't. So, right now we end up seeing it's just Michaela, Macy, and Demi talking. And Macy is like, she kind of nervous. Like, she's like, she called me saying that she needs to have a serious talk with us, like a family meeting. And like, I'm kind of stressed out because I'm like, are you dying? Like, are you sick? Like, you freaking me out. And Whitney's like, no, we're good. So Whitney gets to the house, and then Taylor gets to the house. And so they're sitting down in the den area, and you can tell that Whitney is like anxious. She's like taking deep breaths. She even says like, I am so anxious. And they're all looking at her like, girl, what's going on? And she just starts crying. And so then she ends up saying like, when y'all asked me about Connor being caught on Tinder, and I told you it wasn't true, it actually was true. It actually was true. So everyone's like, Demi's like, oh. And she was like, he has had a porn addiction since we like been married. He's been doing this since we've been married, messaging girls on Tinder. And he's been, struggling. And they were like, well, has it gone any farther? And she's like, no, she was like, no, it's only messages. I said, girl, no, he done slept with some of them women or men. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When she said Connor had, that the PORN addiction, I was like, what was he looking at? Cause I'm not gonna lie, Connor gives me he played for both teams. Or maybe one team. But I was just like, what kind of stuff was he looking at, Whitney? And I know you don't believe that he didn't sleep with none of them girls, because they were like, it's been going on since y'all been married, and he's been having like conversations, and they were like, yeah. And then she admits that they've been sending nudes back and forth. I said, oh, he definitely met with a few of them people. So she's crying, and she's just like, when I left to go to Hawaii, it's just I needed to get away from everything. It was like too much noise. So Taylor is feeling some type of way, because she's like, so you've been making me feel like I'm the scapegoat because of the whole swinger thing, but it's really that. I said, girl, it could have been both. Like, let's not sidestep accountability. You dropped a nuke, and then you tried to walk away from it, and it is what it is. You know, like two things can be true. Like she could be dealing with everyone asking her and her husband swingers, and no, we don't get down like that. As well as she finding out that her man been on the internet for the past, like since they've been married, cheating on her by talking to girls on Tinder and sending back nudes. They could be the same thing. So Demi points out that it seems like there's some tension between Whitney and Taylor. And Whitney's like, there's no tension. Taylor's like, no, it's just a lot going on. You know, I found out I was pregnant. And everyone's like, what? And she's like, wait. But I think I might have had a miscarriage. I like ended up going to the bathroom, bleeding a whole bunch of, a lot of going back. I've been going back and forth to doctors to like, you know, check, get my blood drawn. And Whitney is irritated because she said, girl, what the hell? I just dropped some traumatic stuff about my marriage. Now you gonna try to one up me by telling everybody you done had a miscarriage? Where they do that at? I said, mess. This show is mess. It's messy. Because Whitney was just like, and she was trying to, and Taylor was kind of looking at her like, yeah, we gonna play these games, because Taylor feels some type of way. She was like, I'd rather you be a mean, hateful bitch to me instead of being lying, a fake, and a fraud. And I said, girl, all of y'all are that. All of y'all are liars, fakes, and a fraud, and a bunch of mean girls and bitches. So what we doing? What we doing? So we move on from that scene, and we actually see Dakota and Whitney go out to dinner. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like Dakota was tweaking the whole entire time. Like them eyes were he was doing too much. But basically, he's asking her like, what do you want? And before I get into that, don't you ever disrespect Jake Gyllenhaal. That is a good-looking white man. And to compare Dakota to him is disrespectful and offensive. She was like, you know, when you slid into my DMs, I was like, oh my God, he's so hot. It's very much Jake Gyllenhaal. I said, so your eyes are broken. Your eyes are broken. Okay, you're okay. So Taylor just talks about how like she was just so happy that like they found each other. He wants her to stop drinking. She don't know if she want to stop drinking, but he's also an addict. And he's like, you know, when I got back into the church, I realized I can't be around that. I can't be a part of that, but I want to be with you. And she's contemplating whether or not like she should do it. But she was like, I'm definitely probably going to get drunk tonight. So it's giving Taylor got a drinking problem. Taylor got a drinking problem. And she's coping with like the stressors of trying to fit into what the Mormon church wants her to be, and deal with like the breakdown of her marriage with her previous husband, and now she's with this man, because they both have trust issues. Dakota doesn't really trust Taylor because of the whole swinging situation, and she doesn't trust Dakota because when she premiered him on her TikToks, a bunch of girls slid into her DMs being like, oh, he just slept with my college roommate, like he's been messing around with so and so. So they both don't really see it for each other right about now, but they're supposedly committed to being together. I said, girl, you need to get away from him and he need to get away from you. So the screen goes black after we see Dakota and Taylor leave the restaurant. We've seen the other girls put their kids to bed. The next thing you know, we got body cam footage from the police department. We also got a 911 call where we find out that a lady heard a disturbance in the neighborhood. She was like, I think somebody is in a domestic dispute. She's like, the garage door keeps going up and down, and I don't know if kids are there or not, or if this is between her and her ex-husband. But she was like, I know she shares time with her husband because they're divorced. So we know it's Taylor. So the police roll up. They knock on the door. You can't make out everything, but you hear Taylor saying like, you don't own me. Get away from me. And you hear Dakota being like, stop, Taylor, like you being crazy, like calm down. Then you can hear her say like to the police officer, he threw me out into the garage. And they then pull Taylor out. They're like, here, put on a jacket. Like, pull on a jacket. So they give her a jacket. She's crying, talking about, like, he threw me into the garage against this, like, wooden thing. And, like, I peed on myself because I was so scared. So I grabbed the chair or the wooden thing and I threw it at him. And then you hear Dakota being like, she's drunk, like really wasted right now. She picked up like a metal chair, and threw it at me. So I threw her out into the garage. And then the police officer says, well, you going to jail. And she's like, what? Why? Like, why me? He's like, you going? And I I hate to say it, but it did seem like Dakota was sober and she wasn't. And like, you don't know if he was antagonizing her or vice versa. But like, from a police standpoint, I probably would have got rid of her first, because I'm like, you probably need to detox. And then maybe your story might change, or maybe you might have the same story. And then we realize that he was the aggressor. But they're not just going to leave a drunk person at the house, especially after all of this. So she gets arrested, and then the screen cuts off, and then they did give us the trailer. And then that's why I feel like they probably had a break between filming, because she full on pregnant, like full on pregnant in the next couple of episodes. And we find out in this episode she had a miscarriage. Yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. As always, remember to be bravely authentic, and definitely hop down in them comments below and share your thoughts with me. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.